Welcome to Glorious Gisa. As far as our opening hand goes, we've got one land in our opening hand. So yeah, let's go and mulligan on this one. Yeah, I think we do. And yes, we will keep on this one. I will gladly keep on this one. I've been having a hard time getting a good opening hand with Gisa, so we will keep on this one. I think what we'll do is we'll put on the bottom... We'll probably put Phyrexian Tower. Yeah, I think we're cool there. Let's put Phyrexian Tower on the bottom. Let's go and click OK. Let's go and lead off with Swamp. Let's go for Soul Ring. And then let's go for Mind Stone. See if that's good. And then anything else, pass the turn over to our opponent. There we go. I'll take it. All right. But yes, welcome to Gisa. We've got some fun stuff to talk about today. I'm very excited to play Gisa. And we're playing against Aesi, Tyrant, too, which is, I hadn't seen this commander in, hadn't seen him in a minute. So, we run into Mana Crypt. So let's go ahead and go. So we do not have the double black. So let's go and lead off with Bojuka Bog. I think that'll work. Yeah. So let's go Bojuka Bog. Let's go ahead and send a message and target our opponent's graveyard. Let's get Witch onto the battlefield. And just because we don't really need to take the Mana Crypt damage right now, we'll just go and hold on to Mana Crypt and then anything else. Let's go and pass the turn over to our opponent. We're playing Gisa, Glorious Resurrector. If a creature an opponent control would die, exile it instead. Then at the beginning of your upkeep, put all creature cards exiled with Gisa onto the battlefield under your control. They gain Decayed. Playing against Aesi, Tyrant, which we'll see if our opponent's got anything else moving. And yeah, there we go. So let's get our turn going. We'll talk about what our commander's got. But if not, we'll be able to go for Gisa. And that sounds like a pretty good plan. So let's get Gisa on the battlefield. Let's get Deserted Temple down, and then anything else, let's go and swing in for a 3-2. And let's see what they got on this one. It's going to be Stern Dismissal. Return target creature, turn soldier's hand. Yeah, that's fine. All right, so we're going to send that back to the hand. I'm just going to get in for a 3-2. Coming across for 3, and then anything else, we will... Yeah, we could get Mana Crypt down, but we'll still go and pass the turn. And then go for Gisa next turn. But we're playing against Aesi. You play an additional land on each of your turns. Then, whenever a land enters the battlefield under your control, you may draw a card, which is, if you ever played, get a card draw whenever you play a land. Oh, yeah, that's some good stuff right there. All right, so let's see what this is. The only downside is we don't have any spot removal with Gisa. We do have Toxic Deluge, so we can at least go X up to 3, still have Gisa stick around on the battlefield and get whatever sort of creature that is. In fact, with Toxic Deluge, that actually sounds pretty good if we can get Tireless Provisioner. So let's see if we hit a Black Source. All right, so we run into Conjurer's Closet. Let's get Gisa onto the battlefield. And then we still get Mana Crypt down. That's still only going to end up being 4 mana. So I think what we'll do is we'll still go ahead. Well, we can actually trade with Witch if they... Yeah, we'll definitely make that trade. Because that'll get rid of Tireless Provisioner. That'll get rid of that extra value from them. If not, we'll be able to get him for 3. And then anything else, pass it back over to our opponent. So we did cover both commanders. To give a quick shout out to our sponsors, TCG Player. If you go to bit.ly/JoltMTG, that will apply my affiliate link. That'll allow you to get some cards and help support the channel at the same time. So if you do that, much obliged. I certainly appreciate it. So give a quick shout out to MTGOTraders. Quick shout out to ingaming.com/Jolt for 10% off of your order. And last but not least, I started a Patreon. So if you'd like to directly support cool content like this, there's a link down in the description below. But if you're keeping score at home, it is officially free time, so let's have some fun. All right, so we're going to get Runaway together. That's going to send Gisa back to the hand. And once again, if we run into a Black Source, we'll be able to go for Gisa and Toxic. And so let's see what we hit off of this. That's going to be Night's Whisper. All right, so we can Night's Whisper in hopes that we hit a Black Source, and I think I'm actually okay with that. So let's give that a shot. All right, so we're going to get the Pest token onto the... Oh, there we go. All right, so we run into a Black Source. Let's get Gisa on the battlefield. And that'll be 1-2. And we might have been able to sequence Gisa, now that I think about it, with Deserted Temple. I forgot about that untapped target land ability. Let's still go and push in for 3 with Witch, because we'll definitely take the trade with Tireless Provisioner. And then anything else? I think we'll just, because that'll still be untapped target land, and that'll be 1. Yeah, we'll go for Mana Crypt next turn, because that'll allow us to go for Blood Pact and get Conjurer's Closet down on the battlefield. So anything else, pass the turn over to our opponent. But yes, with Gisa, we do have Conjurer's Closet in the hand, and if you don't know this interaction, so whenever we get these creatures back, they're not a token. They are the actual creature themselves, except they just actually have Decayed. And so one of the cool things about that is if we have Conjurer's Closet on the battlefield, that allows that creature to come back on our side of the battlefield and stay on our side of the battlefield, and they lose that decay option. So that's a really cool thing that you can run in your Gisa deck. You know, it is kind of situational with Conjurer's Closet, but we are running some nice enter the battlefield style effects, so there's which does allow us to, you know, we have Necrotl, we've got Ravenous Chupacabra, so we do have creatures that enter the battlefield and have some sort of enter the battlefield effect as far as removal goes, but it does kind of pull a little bit of extra duty in that it allows us to, you know, steal our opponent's creature and still have them come back on our side of the battlefield. One thing that we are looking to draw into that we have set up in this deck is we do have some indestructible style. All right, so it's going to be Stern Dismissal. Yeah, that's going to send it back to the hand. That's okay. And then they're getting some really good value going with that. And then let me see. But at the very least, for next turn, we've got Blood Pact. That's going to allow us to draw 2 cards, lose 2 life. And that'll still keep us open on... And actually, what we can end up doing, if we wanted to, we can go for Toxic next turn. That'll get rid of Aesi, send Aesi back to the command zone. They can still recast it, but at least it'll get rid of Tireless Provisioner. We'll see. So let's do this. Let's go Pest Token on Aesi, because Aesi does not have Trample, so we'll at least be able to dodge that, end up with a little bit of extra, that extra trigger, gain a life, go to 36. And then next turn, we'll figure out exactly what we want, because we might end up just simply just going for Toxic Deluge. So, see what we draw into. That's going to be... Our opponent goes, I'm scared of her, as far as like sitting and keep sending Gisa back. And I'm like, yeah, Gisa's pretty gnarly, not going to lie. All right, so we hit the land drop for the turn, and yeah, I still think we end up going Gisa. Yeah, I like this. So it's going to be 1, 2, get down Soul Ring. Not Soul Ring. Get down Gisa. We're tapping down Soul Ring. And let's still get Mana Crypt down. We don't really need to go for Conjurer's Closet, but I still like getting Tireless Provision on our side of the battlefield to get some extra tokens. I do like doing that. Now, unfortunately, if we end up going 2, that will cut us off being able to keep Witch on the battlefield. But I like going for this right now. So we're going to go 1, 2, pay 2 on this one. That'll still keep Gisa around on the battlefield. We still get that extra token down. But the good thing is it's going to send Tireless Tracker back to our hand. And then next turn we can Conjurer's Closet back onto the battlefield. So that's going to be Toxic Deluge for 2. Gets rid of the Pest token. That's going to send Tireless Provisioner into the exile zone. And then anything else, let's go and pass the turn over to our opponent. So if they still want to swing in with their commander, they can. That will be a pretty good chunk of damage. It's going to be a 5/5. But thankfully, we're sitting at 35, so we can definitely make that work. Now, as far as Gisa goes in the deck itself, this is still pretty standard mono black. You know, like if you're looking for a Gonti shell. One of the things that we did do a little bit differently in this deck is that I did have added a lot more Planeswalkers in here. When I say a lot, I think we're running about 6 Planeswalkers, which in a normally mono black shell, kind of looking at Obnixilis and a few other things like that. And so with this one, having these 6 Planeswalkers in the deck like that, it really does work, because there will be some times where, let's say our opponent doesn't want to get creatures down because they're worried about Gisa stealing it. One of the nice things is that you can, you know, get a Planeswalker out there that's going to get close to ultimating, get the ultimate going, and you know, colors do have ways to interact with Planeswalkers, but there's a lot of times where you know, a lot of the ways you deal with the Planeswalker is through combat damage, so it'll get creatures on the battlefield. So that's kind of what we're running in here as far as a little bit of a support package. It's not necessarily mono black super friends, but we got some good Planeswalkers in here. So let's go for Blood Pact. We're going to choose ourselves on this one, 100%. Not going to target our opponent. We're going to draw 2 cards and lose 2 life. And this is a new card from Innistrad, so I've been very happy with that. So let's get ready for Tireless Provisioner. One of the good things is we do have we got a land drop for the turn, so we're going to end up with a token. So we'll take that. All right, so we got Mana Crypt trigger. We're going to choose Tails on this one. Lost the flip. We're 0 for 1 on those Mana Crypts. And we run into Exsanguinate, which is a very good thing to see. So let's make the land drop. That's going to be the... yeah, I think we just end up going Treasure Token on this one. Yeah, especially if we're working towards Exsanguinate. Let's get Arcane Signet down. And what we may end up doing, while our opponent is kind of shields down, they only have access to 2 mana, let's go ahead and tap down that, and let's go and crack Mindstone to get in a little bit of an extra card draw. All right, so we run into a swamp. Let's go for Conjurer's Closet. And the good thing about Conjurer's Closet, like I mentioned, we're going to be able to bounce Tireless Provisioner, and Tireless Provisioner will be on our side of the battlefield for the rest of the game, and we don't have to worry about Decayed. But, to be honest, with Decayed, we probably wouldn't be swinging in anyway. Okay, so I think what we do is we simply just hold off, because if they want to swing in with Scut Swarm, we'll at least have Gisa to be able to block, and then anything else we'll pass the turn. So let's go and bounce a Tireless Provisioner. Okay, so now Tireless is back on our side of the battlefield. We don't have to worry about Decayed anymore, and then anything else. We're going to go and pass the turn. So let's get a quick little look at Exsanguinate. I know we're not going to be able to close the game out just yet with Exsanguinate, but if our life total does get a little bit, situational with Aesi and our commander damage is kind of close, we're still at least looking at a pretty good chunk, and that's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So we're looking at X for 10, which is not bad, drop them down to 23. We'd like to be able to get a few more of these creatures out there, and especially Scut Swarm. So one of the things that we are looking for right now would be some sort of card advantage. If we get card advantage going, that'll get us some spot removal, because one of the best ways in this deck to handpick the creatures that we're bringing back with Gisa is with spot removal. So we've got a lot of spot removal in here. The other thing that we are running, and actually, well, I think we make this trade. Yeah, I think we make the trade with Gisa. I'm not sure what they've got on this one. If they got a pump spell, they've got it. But if we can get rid of Scut Swarm... Oh, and excuse me, they're going for the treasure tokens. Yeah, that's a good chunk of mana. The only thing is I'm going to hope is that maybe they don't have a big payoff spell, but we'll see exactly what that's going to be. Okay, this is going to be Nissa Vital Force. And, okay, this is not the double forest Nissa, so that's a good thing. And especially with them only having 2 forests out there, so even if it was that Nissa, it wouldn't be that bad. But we are in a pretty rough spot with them having at least 8 in the air. So that's something we do want to watch out for. But at least we're going to be able to get a token as soon as this swamp comes down. Okay, and our opponent's going to go for Sylvan Tutor. Search your library for a creature card and reveal it. So let's go and get the reveal zone popped up. But yeah, as far as the deck goes, outside of the Planeswalkers, we are running, I think I mentioned it in the video a little bit earlier, but we are running some indestructible combat tricks for Mono Black. And that helps us, in situations like this. Let's say we draw into Damnation, and we have a target creature gets indestructible. That's going to allow us to still keep Gisa on the battlefield and still be able to bring those creatures back, which is pretty important. So let's get the reveal zone popped up. That's going to be Asha, Soul of the Wild. All right, so we'll see if they've got anything to go with that. We do have Scut Swarm on the battlefield. We're going to choose Tails on this Mana Crypt trigger. Lost the flip. 0 for 2 on those. And then we draw into another swamp. So let's go ahead and get the swamp down. That's going to be an extra token. And I think at this point, we're just going for Exsanguinate. So let's get that treasure token on the battlefield. So we're looking at an 8/8. There's a 5/5 out there. They do have Old Gnawbone out there, and unfortunately we have no way to interact with it on that upward damage part. Yeah, I guess we just, we're going to have the land drop next turn. That'll be an extra treasure token, so we can go for Exsanguinate, but I think at this point we just try to go for a little bit of a reactive or like a proactive Exsanguinate. I feel like that's going to be the best and hope that we draw into something for next turn. So let's go and jam Exsanguinate right now. Okay, so we're going to Exsanguinate for 12. We could have waited on this one, to be perfectly honest. I don't know how long we are for this game, especially with the Old Gnawbone out there. Maybe we can get some good stuff moving with Scut Swarm with the lane drop for next turn, so we'll kind of see. And we do not want to swing in with Gisa or Tireless Provisioner, so we're simply just going to go and pass the turn. We still will get the Conjurer's Closet trigger on Scut Swarm. Not going to target the token, because we don't want that to happen, but at least we'll end up with Scut Swarm on our side. That way we can lose that decay ability. There we go. Got some clean reanimated creatures right there. No decay, and then anything else past the turn. Like I mentioned, we've got miscellaneous cards in a deck like this. We've got Panharmonicon. We are running Into the Battlefield's effects in here, but, let's say we have Panharmonicon down and we steal somebody's Snapcaster. We steal, there's a lot of Enter the Battlefield effects in Commander. And so running just enough stuff to help you out as far as your mono black Enter the Battlefield destroy creatures, but also, you want to get as much value from these decay zombies. So running something like Panharmonicon, even maybe for decks not set up to fully utilize it, there's just a lot of creatures that have Enter the Battlefield effect. So that's different ways that you can really utilize Gisa's cheap ability of reanimating. And we get the Nissa ability, and that is whenever a lane enters the battlefield under your control, draw a card. So let's go and always yield to that. So we've got a game cut out for us right now, and see what else we can go for. We are running outside of Damnation and stuff. We are running -X. That's going to be Toxic Deluge, Drown in Sorrow, Yohini's Expertise, the Meat Hook Massacre. Like I mentioned earlier, you want to have Gisa stick around because it makes such a big difference. In if you end up losing Gisa to a board wipe, Gisa's going to come back as a new iteration of Gisa, and I'm 99% sure on this, but Gisa won't bring those creatures back. So that's something to kind of keep in mind. All right, so Aesi does not have Trample. Let's go ahead and block with Tireless Provisioner, and then Old Gnawbone has Indestructible. I mean, it has flying, so we're not going to be able to block. So we're going to jump Tireless Provisioner in front of Aesi. And it's still going to be 8 damage, which is going to be 8, or excuse me, 16 tokens. My goodness, with doubling season. Okay. All right, so let's go and close off the reveal zone. Yeah, I'm not sure what we can do to get out of this. If we do run into a board wipe, that would help, but our opponent's cracking some treasure tokens, so let's see what they've got for this. Okay, so our opponent's going to Green Sun Zenith for 6, so let's see what they end up grabbing off this Green Sun Zenith. And that's going to be Ancient Green Warden. You may pay lands from your graveyard, and that's going to double trigger. So let's go and always yield to that. And our opponent's going to play Yavimaya out of the graveyard. And I'm trying to figure out if they've got a combo with this, or because I know with Soul of the Wild, I know it combos with something, but I don't know if they actually have a combo right here. So let's see what else they've got. And I imagine they're still going to be able to keep this value train going. Oh my goodness, we got Coma with a double major on the stack, my goodness. Okay, so that's going to be double Comas. Enters the battlefield, tap target. Okay, so tap target permanent. Let's see this real quick. Its activated abilities can't be activated this turn. Okay, so we're at least dodging that right now. And they've run through all of their mana, so I don't know if there's anything else that they can do, because technically they have 1 green mana. Now, we are very dead next turn. No, excuse me, with the extra... So it's an extra land drop with Aesi. Okay, so they do end up passing the turn. Let's get the Mana Crypt trigger on the stack. Let's get the Coma trigger. That's going to be Serpents entering the battlefield. And they can go for these activations immediately. They can sacrifice them. Oh my goodness, with doubling season out there, that is... that's beautiful right there. Let's go choose Tails on this Mana Crypt trigger. 1 the flip. We are 1 for 3 on those. Let's see if we hit a board wipe. That's we hit a mountain. So let's get the mountain down. It's going to be another Scut Swarm trigger. Let's go and always yield to that. And in the world of 3/3s and 6/6s and 17/17s, I think our opponent's going to get on this. We'll try to block as much as we can. But I don't know if we can do anything about this. So yeah, anything else is going past turn. Yeah, because we don't want to swing into that. And it should be good game after that. So yeah. All right, so we'll still go ahead and bounce the original Scut Swarm. Yeah, there we go. So we'll bounce the original Scut Swarm. It'll be the same thing. And then anything else, pass it back over to our opponent. Yeah, so they're going to be getting a lot of tokens this turn. They can basically just sacrifice all the tokens that came out and close it out from there. We've got no answers right now. But yeah, talk about a beautiful board state from our opponent, and especially getting the double Coma out there, the Great Hinge doubling season. Beautiful game by our opponent. They did say, can they play their turn out real quick? It's nutty. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to see what they got, and we're going to showcase it here in a little bit, and then I'll jump into commentary once they get some action moving. All right, our opponent's going to go for Parallel Lives. And yeah, our opponent goes, we'll give you an extra turn, but yeah, they've got it on this one, but I kind of want to see this play out. So they got Doubling Season, Parallel Lives. All right, so they're going to get the Old Gnawbone. Our opponent goes, let him hit. So we're obliging our opponent. So that's going to be Old Gnawbone. Because Doubling Season, Parallel Lives, oh my goodness, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 72. Look at that. It's a lot of treasure tokens right there. All right, so our opponent cracked all the treasure tokens to go for Genesis Wave for 59. Beautiful to see things like that. So hey, if you're looking for a fun Simic deck to build, hey, we got Aesi and double Coma out there. That was beautiful. Doubling Season, Parallel Lives. One of the main things to take away from this Gisa video is that, unfortunately, we didn't get the win, but the interaction between Conjurer's Closet and Gisa being able to keep that creature around on the battlefield, that's a pretty strong effect, and especially if you have your deck built in a manner that already has Enter the Battlefield creatures in your deck to begin with. It's a really nice way to make sure that stuff sticks around and kind of go for that. But you can see where, getting something value piece like Scut Swarm, we keep making our land drops that allows us to get more copies of Scut Swarm. We had Tireless Provisioner at one point getting treasure tokens out there. There's just a lot of creatures that, once you add their added value to a mono black, it makes the game a lot of fun. You can end up with these really explosive board states. But anyway, if you enjoyed the video, hey, like and subscribe. Thanks. Bye.